You don't rebuild your life in one day. You do it one step at a time. If you've hit rock bottom, I know how heavy life can feel. You wake up tired, not just in your body, but in your mind. You look around and nothing feels right. You don't feel like yourself anymore. And it's hard to know where to begin. But here's the truth. You don't have to fix your entire life today. You just need to take one real step forward. This video is not about doing everything at once. It's about doing one thing each day that helps you feel a little stronger, a little clearer, a little more in control. You'll learn how to stop wasting time, how to cut out distractions, how to rebuild your habits, and how to get your life back in order without feeling overwhelmed. This is for people who are serious about starting over, for real, not with noise, not with fake motivation, but with small, clear steps that actually work. If you're ready to rebuild yourself from the ground up, stay here. This video was made for you. One step, one day. That's all it takes to start. Chapter 1. Get real with yourself and face the truth now. You don't change your life by running from the truth. You change your life when you look straight at it and say, "This is where I am, and I don't want to stay here anymore." That's where it all begins. That moment. That decision. It's not about blaming anyone. It's not about what went wrong. It's about waking up to the reality that your life is in your hands now. And if you're at rock bottom, then the good news is you're not going any lower. It's time to look in the mirror, get real with yourself, and stop lying about why you are where you are. It hurts, I know. No one ends up at rock bottom without some scars, some disappointments, some bad decisions. But pain is a powerful teacher. It doesn't lie. It shows you everything you ignored. It shows you how long you let things slide. And sometimes we don't change until the pain of staying the same becomes heavier than the pain of change. If you've been avoiding the truth, you've probably been saying things like, "I'll fix it later," or "It's not that bad," or "Maybe things will just work out." But deep down, you know they won't. Not without you changing something, and not just something small. You've got to change your mindset. You've got to change your behavior. You've got to change how honest you are with yourself, because pretending doesn't solve anything. Hiding behind excuses only delays the breakthrough. People at rock bottom don't need more comfort. They need clarity. They need to sit down and ask the hard questions. What did I allow? What did I ignore? What did I keep putting off? What patterns did I repeat? Not to feel guilty, but to feel clear. Because clarity is power. When you see the truth, you can work with it. When you avoid it, it controls you. One of the hardest things you'll ever do is admit to yourself that you could have done better, that you let things fall apart because you weren't doing what you were supposed to do, that you were careless, that you didn't listen, that you wasted time, that you gave your energy to people and things that didn't deserve it. But this honesty is what breaks the chains. This is what sets you free. You've got to stop calling it bad luck. You've got to stop blaming others, not because they didn't hurt you, not because they didn't fail you, but because blaming them doesn't rebuild your life. Only ownership does. Ownership is step one. If you want your life to change, you've got to take full control over everything you can. You've got to say, "I am where I am because of choices, some mine, some not, but I decide where I go from here." This is when things start shifting. When you stop sugarcoating the damage. when you stop justifying your comfort zone. When you finally sit down and tell yourself, this isn't working. That's not weakness. That's power. It takes strength to get real. It takes courage to stop pretending everything is fine. Most people don't have that kind of courage, but if you're listening to this, you're not most people. You want change. You want to rebuild. And you don't rebuild by guessing. You rebuild by knowing exactly what's broken. You've got to look at your habits. You've got to look at your attitude. You've got to look at your environment. And you've got to say, what needs to go? What needs to change? What needs to start today? No more waiting. No more hiding. No more hoping without action. Change starts with facing your day-to-day reality. What are you doing with your mornings? How are you spending your evenings? Are you wasting time? Are you being productive? Are you living like someone who's serious about changing? If not, then that's your starting point. You don't need a new year. You don't need the perfect plan. You need to stop lying to yourself and start moving forward with what you have. You may not have money. You may not have support. You may not even have energy. But if you have truth, you have direction. And direction is more important than speed. A lot of people move fast, but in the wrong direction. You want to be different. You want to be the person who gets it right by getting real. That's where rebuilding starts. Nobody's coming to fix your life for you. Nobody's waking up every day wondering how to save you. And that's okay. Because you're not helpless. You're not powerless. You don't need to be rescued. You need to wake up. You need to face what you've been running from. You need to stop living in the past and start building a new story. One decision at a time. If you want to rise again, you've got to let go of the lies that keep you down. Stop telling yourself you're too late. Stop saying it's too hard. Stop acting like it's over. It's not over. It's just not comfortable. And that's okay. Growth never feels good in the beginning. But staying stuck, that feels worse over time. And you already know what that feels like. Face it now. Get up. Take responsibility. Clean up your space. Get your schedule in order. Start showing up for yourself again. Not once. Not when you feel like it. Every single day. That's how you rebuild. And it starts with truth. Not inspiration. Not hype. Just truth. Truth that you haven't been giving your best. Truth that you've been settling. Truth that your habits need work. Truth that the life you're living right now doesn't reflect who you really are. And once you face that, you don't stop there. You take the next step. You build structure. You add discipline. You stay away from the same traps that brought you down the first time. You remember what it felt like to lose yourself. And you refuse to feel that again. That's how you keep going. That's how you rebuild. You don't wait for motivation. You build it by staying real with yourself every single day. This is your life. It's not a practice run. It's not a waiting room. It's not something you watch happen to you. It's something you take charge of. But it only works when you stop hiding from your reality. Start today. Don't just wish for better. Work for better. Speak truth to yourself. Build from truth. Act from truth. Live in truth. Because when you start there, there's no limit to how far you can go. Chapter 2. Remove distractions and focus fully on your life. If your life feels stuck, messy, or overwhelming, the first thing you have to do is clear out what doesn't matter. You can't build a better future when your attention is being pulled in 10 directions that lead nowhere. You can't rebuild your life while you're surrounded by noise. Noise from people, noise from screens, noise from habits that don't bring you any closer to who you want to be. The truth is, most people stay stuck not because they don't want a better life, but because they're too distracted to focus on it. And if you don't control what takes your focus, your future will always be in someone else's hands. If you're serious about turning your life around, you have to take a hard look at what's constantly interrupting your focus. That means being honest about what takes up your time, your energy, and your thoughts. If you wake up and the first thing you do is scroll for an hour, that's not just a habit, it's a block. If your day is filled with interruptions, entertainment, gossip, or mindless activity, then you're not in control of your life. The distractions are, and that's dangerous. Your time is the most limited resource you have. Once it's gone, it's gone. If distractions steal your time today, they're stealing opportunities that could have changed everything for you. You could have been learning something valuable. You could have been building discipline. You could have been getting healthier, smarter, more prepared. But instead, you gave your attention to things that don't care about you. And if you keep doing that, the result is simple. Nothing changes. Most people wait for some big moment to get serious. They say, "I'll fix my life when things calm down," or "I'll focus when I feel more motivated." But the truth is, distractions never go away on their own. You have to remove them. You have to decide that your peace, your focus, and your future matter more than comfort or entertainment. That's a tough decision in a world that's designed to keep you distracted. But it's the only way out. Look at how you spend your day, not in theory, in reality. What do you actually do between the time you wake up and go to sleep? Be specific. If you can't account for where your hours go, then you're not running your life. You're reacting to it. Start cutting the noise. Cut the apps. Cut the people who don't support your growth. Cut the habits that keep you numb and stuck. Every distraction you remove gives you back a piece of your power. And if you want your life to mean something, you need all the power you can reclaim. It's not easy to do this, especially when distractions have become your escape. If you've been using entertainment to avoid dealing with stress or social media to distract from loneliness, then removing those things can feel uncomfortable at first. But growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from facing what you've been avoiding. If you can sit in that space without reaching for your phone, without turning on something mindless, then you start reconnecting with what really matters to you. That's where clarity lives. You can't change your life if your mind is always busy with other people's lives. You don't need to follow every story, watch every show, or respond to every message. You need to live your life. You need to take those quiet moments and ask yourself, what am I building? What am I becoming? If you don't like the answers, then you've found your starting point. Focus is a skill, and just like any other, it grows stronger the more you practice it. Start small. Set a block of time each day where you put your phone away. No notifications, no checking. Just time for yourself. Maybe it's reading, maybe it's planning, maybe it's learning something new. The activity doesn't matter as much as the discipline. Build the muscle. Reclaim your attention, 1 hour at a time, and when distractions try to pull you back, and they will, remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself that your time is your life. Remind yourself that every moment you spend focused is a step toward the future you want. That mindset is what separates people who grow from people who stay stuck. Don't underestimate the influence of your environment. If your space is filled with noise and clutter, your mind will feel the same. Clean up your room, Organize your space. Set it up in a way that makes focus easier, not harder. That one change alone can shift your energy. Because when your environment is clean, your thinking becomes clearer. And watch who you're around. Some people are walking distractions. They waste time. They drain you. They keep you from rising. You don't need drama right now. You don't need negativity. You don't need to be around people who keep you small. You need space. You need clarity. You need focus. Be polite, be kind, but protect your path. This is your life you're rebuilding. You don't owe access to people who don't respect your mission. The more you clear out what doesn't matter, the more room you have to focus on what does. And once you have focus, you can make real progress. Progress that's visible. Progress that feels good. You'll start to notice you're not as anxious. You're not as drained. You're not chasing distractions anymore. You're building something. That shift will give you a confidence nothing else can give you. Most people have the talent. Most people have the ability. But very few people have the focus. And that's why they stay average. If you want to rise above your old life, you've got to stop living like the old you. The old you got distracted. The old you wasted time. The old you made excuses. That version of you is gone now. You're not that person anymore, not if you're serious about rebuilding. From now on, your focus becomes sacred. Your time becomes sacred. Your energy becomes sacred. And you give it only to what moves you forward. That doesn't mean your life has to be perfect. It just means you stop letting meaningless things take over your attention. So get your life in order. Start trimming what doesn't belong. Get rid of what's been slowing you down. Use your mornings wisely. Set goals. Follow through. Say no to what distracts you. Say yes to what makes you stronger. Because every time you choose focus over distraction, you prove to yourself that you're serious, and that's how you rebuild. One focused day at a time. One honest decision at a time. You don't need more time, you need fewer distractions. You don't need more motivation, you need more clarity. And you don't need a perfect plan, you need consistent focus. That's what brings the breakthrough. That's what helps you rise. Not luck, not timing, focus. And it starts today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when life gets easier. Right now. You've got everything you need to begin. Just clear the noise. Focus on your life. Give it everything you've got. You'll be amazed what happens when your attention is finally yours again. Chapter 3. Take control of your mornings and stop wasting time. The way you start your morning shapes everything that comes after it. If your day begins with confusion, delay, or laziness, the rest of the day rarely turns out any better. If you wake up without a purpose, without structure, or without discipline, you start behind and stay behind. Most people don't realize how much they lose in the first hour of the day. It's not just time. They lose clarity, momentum, confidence. The early part of your day is your foundation, and if you don't take control of it, you hand control of your entire life over to habit, comfort, or chaos. You don't need to wake up at 4:00 a.m. or follow a complicated routine. That's not what this is about. This is about owning your first decisions. What do you do when you open your eyes? Do you sit in bed and scroll for 30 minutes? Do you hit snooze and avoid the day? Do you waste your time doing what doesn't matter? That's where the change has to start. You have to stand up and say, no more drifting, no more passive mornings, I've got things to fix, I've got a life to rebuild. and it starts right here. People who win the day don't do it by accident. They create structure. They know what needs to happen, and they stop waiting to feel ready. Taking control of your mornings isn't about energy. It's about intention. You wake up and act like your time matters. You show up like someone who respects themselves. That small shift alone can change your entire mindset. Because when you start your day with discipline, it's much harder to lose it later. If you want to rebuild your life, you have to respect the value of time, especially the time no one sees. That's the part that builds your strength. That's the part where most people stay weak. Most people waste their mornings and wonder why they're always behind. They rush through the day because they started it with no direction. They feel frustrated because they chose comfort instead of control. And it becomes a pattern they can't break. Until they choose to take that first hour seriously. There is no secret here. You don't need motivation. You need consistency. You don't need more time. You need better habits. Wake up and get moving. Clean your space. Eat something that fuels you. Read something that sharpens you. Review your goals. Plan your priorities. Take care of your body. These aren't fancy ideas. These are actions that bring order into your day. And the more order you have, the more control you have over your future. Your morning should never start with randomness. That's how you stay stuck. That's how you keep repeating yesterday. Your morning should be intentional. It should reflect the life you're trying to build. If you want to become stronger, start the day with actions that build strength. If you want more focus, start your day with things that center your mind. If you want discipline, get up and practice it before the world has a chance to distract you. Nothing changes until your mornings change. That's the truth. That's where momentum lives. That's where consistency begins. If you've been living without structure, it's going to feel uncomfortable at first. You're going to want to hit snooze. You're going to want to stay in bed. You're going to tell yourself, just 5 more minutes. But those 5 minutes turn into missed opportunities. Those 5 minutes turn into more regret. You've had enough of that. That's why you're here. Taking control of your mornings means you stop negotiating with laziness. It means you stop reacting and start leading yourself. The world doesn't care if you stay in bed. Your future doesn't wait for you to get ready. You either step into it or you stay where you've been. You're not at rock bottom to rest. You're here to reset. You're here to rebuild. And nothing gets rebuilt when the first part of your day is wasted. Create a morning that serves your goals. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Decide what time you'll wake up and commit. Don't change it based on how you feel. Show up whether you're tired or not. Your body and your mind will adjust. The more consistent you are, the easier it becomes. You'll notice something powerful start to happen. You'll start trusting yourself again. You'll start to believe in your ability to follow through. That belief will change how you walk through the day. You'll move with more confidence. You'll speak with more conviction. And you'll stop wasting time because you've finally taken charge of it. People who take control of their lives don't start the day in a fog. They wake up with purpose. They take action before the world pulls them in every direction. That's how they stay ahead. That's how they grow. It's not talent. It's not luck. It's how they manage the small things when no one is watching. And that can be you too, if you decide it matters. Look at your current routine. Ask yourself, does this help me get better? If the answer is no, then change it. Don't wait for the perfect time. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for more motivation. Decide that you're done living like yesterday. Decide that your time matters, then prove it with action. Wake up and make your bed. Take a cold shower, read 5 pages, do 10 push-ups, write down your goals, walk outside, stretch, eat clean, drink water, plan your schedule. These aren't groundbreaking habits, but they separate the average from the excellent. They show that you're not wasting your life anymore. They show that you're done with excuses. You don't have to fix everything in one day, but you do have to show up today. Start where you are, with what you have. You might be tired, you might be stressed, but you can still take control of the morning. That choice will echo into everything else you do. It will build a new standard for how you treat yourself. This is how you rebuild your confidence. This is how you create momentum. This is how you stop the cycle of regret. Because every morning that you choose discipline over delay, you move further away from your old self. And that's the goal. Never to be perfect, but to never be who you used to be. One day, you'll look back and realize that the life you live came from mornings like this. Mornings where you didn't feel like it, but you did it anyway. Mornings where no one was watching, but you stayed consistent. Mornings where you proved to yourself that you're not here to waste another year. So stop waiting for motivation. Start building habits. Stop wasting hours. Start using them. Stop thinking about the past. Start building the future. The clock is ticking, whether you take action or not. But today is still in your hands. Own it. Show up. Take control of your mornings and step into the life you're meant to live.
Chapter 4. Fix your habits before they keep ruining everything. If your life feels like it keeps falling apart, if you keep ending up in the same place over and over again, no matter how hard you try, then it's time to face something most people never want to admit. Your habits are the problem, not your intentions, not your goals, not even your mindset alone. It's your habits. The things you keep doing every day without thinking, without questioning, without adjusting. They're either building you up or breaking you down. And if your life isn't moving forward, it's time to fix the patterns that are silently ruining everything. You don't need more talk. You don't need another plan. What you need is a deep, honest look at what you do from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep. Most people underestimate the power of small daily actions. They think big change comes from big events, but it never does. It comes from the little decisions, the ones that feel harmless, the ones that feel normal, the ones you repeat without even realizing they're shaping your future. If you keep hitting snooze every morning, that's not just a delay. It's a message you send to yourself that says, my goals can wait. If you keep checking your phone before doing anything productive, you're telling your brain that distraction deserves your attention before growth. If you keep eating junk, avoiding workouts, skipping the hard conversations, putting off the important tasks, you are literally practicing how to fail. And what you practice every day becomes your life. Your habits have one job: to make the rest of your life easier or harder. And the truth is, many of the habits we hold on to are only there because they're comfortable, not because they're helpful, not because they're right, but because they're familiar. And familiar habits are hard to let go of, even when they're causing real damage. You get used to the pain. You get used to the excuses. You convince yourself it's just temporary. But 1 year turns into 3, and by the time you look up, you've built a life that reflects everything you were supposed to outgrow. Nothing changes until you change the things you do daily. The habits that once made you feel safe might now be the exact things holding you back. And if you don't fix them now, they'll keep pulling you down no matter how hard you try to move up. That's how habits work. They repeat, they run on autopilot. And unless you interrupt the pattern, you'll stay stuck in cycles that look different on the surface, but feel the same deep down. Start by identifying the ones that cause the most damage. Be honest. What are you doing every day that works against the life you say you want? Write it down. Look at it. Sit with it. Don't avoid it. Awareness is where change begins. Because once you see the habit for what it really is, you stop making excuses for it. You stop hiding behind the idea that it's not that serious. You start recognizing how much time, energy, and confidence it's been stealing from you. Changing habits doesn't happen overnight, but it starts with one decision: I don't want to keep living like this. From there you choose one behavior to replace at a time. Don't try to change everything at once. That's how people burn out. That's how they fall back into old routines. Instead, take one thing you know is hurting your progress and replace it with something that helps. If you waste time in the morning, set a simple morning routine and stick to it. If you overeat at night, create a cut-off time for food. If you spend too much time online, set limits. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stop letting the worst parts of your routine lead your life. Most people will avoid this process because it's uncomfortable. It means confronting laziness. It means admitting weakness. It means accepting that a lot of the struggle wasn't just outside circumstances, it was self-created. But this is also the moment where you take your power back. Because when you realize the problem is in your hands, so is the solution. That's where real growth begins. Not when everything's going right, but when you finally take responsibility for what's been going wrong. You are not your bad habits. You're just someone who picked them up along the way. Maybe out of survival, maybe from your environment, maybe from people who never taught you better. But now you know. Now you see what they've been costing you. And knowing that you get to decide what stays and what goes. Don't hold on to behaviors just because they've been with you for years. If they're not helping you become the person you want to be, they have to go. Replacing bad habits with good ones isn't just about discipline, it's about identity. You're shaping the kind of person you are. Every time you follow through on a new behavior, you're proving to yourself that you're not who you used to be. You're becoming someone different. Someone more focused, more consistent, more resilient. That's how you earn self-respect. Not by talking about change, but by doing the things you promised yourself you would do. There will be days you slip. There will be moments where the old habits call your name. That's not failure. That's part of the process. The key is not to let one bad day become a bad week. Don't let a mistake turn into a pattern. Correct it fast. Remind yourself why you started. Remind yourself how far you've come. One bad moment doesn't erase your progress unless you let it. You'll know your habits are changing when the things that once felt hard start to feel normal. Waking up early, saying no to comfort, choosing discipline over distraction. These things get easier with practice, and the more consistent you are, the more they start to define you. That's when you'll start to notice changes, not just in how you feel but in the results you get. Your work will improve. Your energy will rise, your focus will sharpen, and most importantly, your belief in yourself will grow. You've spent enough time in survival mode. You've spent enough time trying to fix your life without fixing the root causes. Now it's time to build a life that doesn't fall apart so easily. That means building routines that support your goals, not sabotage them. That means making daily decisions that protect your future instead of repeating the pain of your past. No one is coming to change your habits for you. This is your job, your responsibility, your turning point, and you are fully capable of doing it. You've already been through the hard parts. Now you get to choose better. Not just once, every day. That's how your life transforms. Not in a single leap, but in the quiet, steady decision to act better than you feel, to do better than you've done, and to keep showing up even when it's easier not to. This is how you rebuild. This is how you rise. Not by waiting for things to fix themselves, but by fixing what you do every day. Start now. Break the cycle. Build something real. And don't stop until your habits reflect the life you deserve. Chapter 5. Start doing the hard things you always avoid. The life you want is waiting behind the hard things you keep avoiding. You can read all the books, listen to all the speeches, set all the goals, but nothing will ever change until you start doing what's difficult. The uncomfortable things, the tasks you've put off for months, the conversations you've been too afraid to have, the responsibility you've refused to accept. That's the truth. People don't want to face. Most of the answers we need aren't hidden. They're just hard to deal with, and so we avoid them. We tell ourselves we'll get to them later. We distract ourselves. We keep busy doing easy things, hoping life will magically get better, but it never does. Because growth is on the other side of what you refuse to face. You already know what you need to do. That's not the problem. The problem is doing it. The problem is looking at the one thing that makes you uncomfortable and choosing to face it head on. Maybe it's getting your finances in order. Maybe it's fixing your health. Maybe it's having the courage to leave a situation that's been holding you back. It could be starting something new that scares you or letting go of something you've outgrown. Whatever it is, it's not unclear. It's just uncomfortable. And that's where most people stop. They stop at the edge of discomfort. They want change without pain. They want improvement without struggle. But life doesn't work that way. If it did, everyone would be living their dream. What separates those who grow from those who stay stuck isn't intelligence. It isn't luck. It's the willingness to do the hard thing without waiting to feel ready. It's the ability to act even when it's difficult. That's what strength looks like. That's how people rise. Avoiding hard things doesn't make them disappear. It just gives them power. The longer you wait, the heavier they feel. The more you delay, the more they control your life. You may think you're protecting yourself, but you're actually creating more pressure, more anxiety, more regret. That pile of "I'll do it later" keeps growing until it becomes overwhelming. And eventually it buries you. The only way out is through the fear, through the discomfort, through the resistance. There's nothing wrong with being afraid, but you can't let fear be the reason you settle for less. You have to stop asking, "Is this easy?" and start asking, "Is this necessary?" That shift in mindset changes everything. It removes emotion from the decision and brings in responsibility. If you want your life to change, you don't wait for motivation. You don't wait for comfort. You act because it's time to act. Because putting it off another day is just another excuse. And you've had enough of those. The more you avoid, the more you weaken your discipline. Every time you choose ease over effort, you teach yourself that it's okay to quit on yourself. And the longer you keep doing that, the more your confidence suffers. You start doubting your ability to follow through. You stop believing in yourself. But the opposite is also true. When you do hard things, even small ones, you rebuild that trust. You start to prove to yourself that you can handle more than you thought. That belief is worth everything. Doing hard things builds more than results. It builds character. It sharpens your mind. It makes you mentally tougher. It gives you a sense of pride that no one can give you, because you earned it. You got up when it was easier to stay down. You pushed through when your body and mind told you to stop. You didn't take the shortcut. You stayed the course. That feeling stays with you. It becomes your edge. And once you get a taste of it, you stop settling for easy. Start with one thing, one task you've been avoiding. Don't wait. Don't overthink it. Just begin. The hardest part is starting. Once you're in motion, momentum starts to work in your favor. And the more you do, the more you realize it wasn't as bad as you thought. The fear was louder than the reality. That's how avoidance works. It builds mountains in your mind that aren't really there. And the only way to shrink them is to take action. The most successful people you admire didn't get there by avoiding discomfort. They leaned into it. They accepted it as part of the process. And they learned to work through it instead of run from it. That's a skill you can develop. It's not about never feeling fear. It's about not letting fear decide how you live. You don't have to be fearless to take action. You just have to be willing to act while feeling afraid. When you take on what's difficult, something shifts inside you. You walk differently. You think more clearly. You stop wasting time on things that don't matter, because you know what it took to get here. You don't need external rewards because the internal reward is enough. That sense of progress, of discipline, of self-respect, it's powerful. And it starts with a decision to stop running. You've already spent too much time avoiding the hard stuff. You know how that feels. You know what it's cost you. Time, energy, peace. Enough is enough. The next level of your life won't come easy. It requires more of you, more focus, more responsibility, more courage. And the only way you build those things is by doing what's hard over and over, until it becomes who you are. You don't have to change everything today, but you do have to face something you've been ignoring, something you know needs to be done. Stop making it bigger than it is. Start small, but start strong. Show yourself what happens when you stop backing down. That's how momentum builds. That's how change begins. If you want to rebuild from rock bottom, this is the way. Face what you've been avoiding. Choose the challenge. Lean into the discomfort. Not once, not when it's convenient. Every day. Make it a way of living. Make it part of who you are. Because the hard things you do today become the strengths you carry tomorrow. And here's what happens when you do this consistently. You begin to respect yourself. You begin to walk into situations with a calm sense of control. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. You've trained your mind to stop giving up. You've shown your body that it can push through. You've conditioned your emotions to handle stress without shutting down. That strength is built one hard decision at a time. The pain of doing the hard thing is temporary, but the cost of avoiding it, that stays with you. It piles up in your mind. It affects your sleep. It steals your energy. Don't carry that anymore. Drop the delay. Pick up the responsibility. Do what needs to be done. Whether it's fixing a mistake, ending a habit, starting a new path, or simply showing up for yourself again. It's all the same principle. Face it. Do it. Don't run. You've got what it takes. You've always had it, but now is the time to act on it. Step up, handle the pressure. Stop negotiating with procrastination. Push through the resistance. You won't regret doing the hard thing. You'll only regret not starting sooner. And once you begin, you won't want to stop, because the strength you find in the challenge is the very strength that will carry you into the life you deserve. Chapter 6. Build structure in your day and follow it daily. Your life won't change just because you want it to. It changes when you give it structure. It changes when your day has purpose, and that purpose is backed by a schedule that you actually follow. Without structure, you drift. You get pulled by whatever feels easy. You lose time to things that don't matter. You repeat yesterday. You live in circles. Most people don't realize that the real battle isn't always about motivation. It's about direction. It's about having a day that's built with intention. You either create the plan or you get stuck in someone else's. That's why structure matters. It's not about being perfect. It's about being consistent with the things that lead to progress. When you wake up and already know what your day looks like, you remove friction. You don't waste energy deciding what to do next. You're not reacting. You're leading. You're in charge of your time instead of letting your time run you. That's how successful people move through the day. They don't wing it. They don't hope things get done. They schedule what matters and stick to it, even when it's uncomfortable, even when they don't feel like it. Think about how much time you've lost to randomness. You wake up late, you scroll, you drift into the day without a plan. Hours pass, and suddenly you're behind. You tell yourself you'll do more tomorrow. Then tomorrow looks just like today. It becomes a pattern, one that feels normal, but just because it's familiar doesn't mean it's right. Just because you're used to the chaos doesn't mean you should live in it. That's where structure steps in. It puts the power back in your hands. A structured day doesn't mean every second is rigid. It means your key priorities have a home. It means the things that move your life forward have a place in your schedule, and they're protected. You don't leave important actions up to chance. You place them on the calendar and show up for them, like it's non-negotiable, because it is. If your goals matter, then the time you give them must matter too. Start by defining what needs to happen every day. Not once a week. Not when I have time. Every single day. Ask yourself, what are the top 3 things that would move my life forward if I did them consistently? Maybe it's training your body. Maybe it's reading. Maybe it's working on a project that builds your future. Whatever it is, give it a block of time. Write it down. Make it visual. And when that time comes, act. No delays, no debate, no negotiations. Most people know what to do. The problem is they don't protect the time to do it. They give it away to distractions. They fill it with low-priority tasks. They convince themselves that being busy is the same as being productive. But busyness is a trap. It makes you feel like you're doing something without moving forward. Structure keeps you honest. It shows you where your time actually goes. And if you've been saying you don't have time to improve, structure will prove whether that's true or just an excuse. If your days feel out of control, it's probably because you haven't given them a clear direction. Structure provides stability, especially when life feels uncertain. When your world feels unstable, your routine can ground you. It's a system you can rely on when motivation is gone. You don't have to feel great to stick to your schedule. You just have to respect it. That respect builds resilience. It teaches you to follow through no matter how the day feels. Following a daily structure also eliminates decision fatigue. You don't spend energy wondering what to do next. You just move. You take the next step, because it's already planned. That kind of clarity saves you. It frees up your focus. It removes hesitation, and it gives you a quiet kind of confidence, because you know you're in control of your day, not reacting to every interruption. Structure also gives you balance. It doesn't just help with productivity. It creates space for rest, recovery, reflection. Without a plan, you work all over the place and never feel done. But with structure, your work has a time, your rest has a time, and you can actually enjoy both. That balance is what keeps people consistent. Burnout happens when your day has no boundaries. Discipline grows when your time is respected. You don't have to build the perfect schedule. You just have to build one that works and follow it. You'll improve it over time. Don't overthink it. Just start. Set a time to wake up. Set a time for your most important tasks. Create time for health, time for growth, time for reflection, and honor it. When distractions show up, and they will, remind yourself what you're building. Remind yourself that every time you follow your schedule, you're keeping a promise to your future. You'll feel resistance. That's normal, especially in the beginning. Structure will feel boring at first. Your mind will want the old habits back. The freedom to do whatever, whenever. But that kind of freedom has already failed you. It didn't give you peace. It gave you regret. Real freedom comes from discipline, from knowing that your life is in motion, that your time is not being wasted, that you're making steady progress even on average days. Every day won't be perfect. That's not the goal. The goal is to show up anyway, to build a day that serves your growth, and to live it over and over until the results show up. And they will, because structure always pays off. It multiplies your effort. It turns small actions into lasting change. And it makes your future predictable. Not in a boring way, but in a powerful way. You'll know that if you keep showing up, things will get better. Because you've built your life on action, not emotion. This is where the turning point happens. When your day has structure, your mind gets clearer. You stop rushing. You stop guessing. You start executing. That shift affects everything. Your work, your health, your relationships, your confidence. It doesn't take a new life to feel different. It just takes a new day. Repeated with discipline. Protected from distraction. Focused on the right things. And you don't have to figure it all out today. Just build a basic plan. Stick to it. Adjust it as you grow. But don't wait until life is perfect to start. That's a trap. Start with what you have. With what you can do now. Keep it simple. Keep it honest. And follow it. Because every time you follow your own structure, you take a step away from the chaos that once controlled you. You stop drifting. You stop reacting, and you start living a life that reflects effort, intention, and progress. That's how you rebuild. That's how you move forward. Not by chasing motivation or waiting for clarity, but by building a daily structure and honoring it like your life depends on it, because it does. Chapter 7. Improve your mindset by working on it every day. Your mind is the engine behind everything you do. Every choice you make, every habit you follow, every action you take, it all starts with how you think. If your mindset is negative, if it's weak, if it's filled with doubt, fear, or excuses, your life will reflect that. You'll hesitate, overthink, procrastinate, and settle. Not because you're not capable, but because your mind has been trained to expect the worst, to avoid pressure, and to protect comfort. If you want to rebuild your life from the ground up, The most important work starts inside. You have to work on your mindset every single day. Not just when things go wrong. Not just when you feel lost. Every day. That's how real change begins. Your mindset is not fixed. It's not something you're born with and stuck with forever. It's built. It's shaped by what you feed it, how you challenge it, and what you allow yourself to believe. The person you are today is a reflection of the thoughts you've repeated for years. So if you want to become someone stronger, wiser, and more focused, you have to break away from the old mental habits that kept you stuck. That doesn't happen by accident. It happens by discipline. By showing up for your mind the same way you would show up for your body if you were training it to be stronger. Working on your mindset means you become aware of your thoughts before they turn into actions. You catch the fear before it turns into hesitation. You catch the anger before it turns into destruction. You catch the doubt before it turns into retreat. That's not easy, and it won't happen if you only focus on it once in a while. Just like you can't get fit with one workout, you can't get mentally strong by thinking positively once a week. You have to train it. You have to give it attention every morning, every evening, especially on the days when your emotions want to run the show. A strong mindset doesn't come from always being positive. It comes from being prepared. It comes from being able to handle pressure without breaking down. It comes from not letting outside noise control your inner voice. The world will test you. People will doubt you. Life will hit you with situations that don't seem fair. If you don't prepare your mind for that reality, those moments will knock you down harder than they should. But if you build the habit of working on your thinking every single day, those same challenges become stepping stones. They no longer break you, they shape you. You don't fix your mindset by avoiding problems. You fix it by learning how to think through them. That's why reflection matters. That's why journaling matters. That's why quiet time matters. Not to look good on the outside, but to build strength on the inside. You need space in your day where you ask yourself honest questions. What am I focused on right now? Am I being honest with myself? Am I reacting or responding? Am I feeding growth or feeding weakness? That level of thinking builds awareness, and awareness creates power. Because now you're not just reacting to life, you're directing it. Part of working on your mindset daily is paying attention to what you allow in, what you listen to, who you listen to, what you read, what you consume online. Every piece of information you let in either strengthens you or weakens you. Most people are casual with what they feed their minds. They watch and listen to anything. They absorb negativity without realizing it. And then they wonder why they feel tired, anxious or lost. You have to protect your mind like it's your greatest asset, because it is. If something doesn't serve your growth, stop giving it space in your head. Mental strength is also about what you say to yourself. You don't have to be your biggest critic. You don't have to tear yourself down for every mistake. Growth doesn't come from punishment. It comes from awareness and direction. When you fall short, acknowledge it, learn from it, and move forward. Don't dwell, don't spiral. Get back to work. Get your focus back. Forgive yourself and get stronger. That's how you build resilience. That's how you train your mindset to work for you instead of against you. Working on your mindset also means building mental routines that support your day. Starting the day with silence, reflection or clear intentions sets the tone. Ending the day with gratitude or review creates closure. These habits seem small, but they have a massive impact on how you feel, how you think, and how you carry yourself. They remind you that you're in control, that your thoughts don't just happen. You choose them, that your reactions are not automatic, you decide them. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present, being aware, being deliberate, and doing it every day, even when life is hard, especially when life is hard. That's when your mindset gets tested the most, and that's when your training matters the most. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You rise to the level of your mindset. If your thinking is weak, you'll fold under pressure. But if your mind is sharp, clear, and trained, you'll stay steady, even when things around you are falling apart. People who rebuild their lives don't do it with just action. They do it with belief. They do it with vision. They do it with a mindset that says, no matter what I face, I won't go back to who I used to be. That kind of thinking isn't random. It's built on purpose, through repetition, through discipline, through daily decisions to think better than you feel. That's what separates the ones who stay stuck from the ones who rise. If you want to change your life, change your thinking. And if you want to change your thinking, commit to working on it daily. Not once, not when things fall apart. Every single day, get clear on what you want. Remind yourself who you are. Train your focus. Control your inner voice. Speak strength into your day. That's how you break the old patterns. That's how you stop falling for the same distractions. That's how you step into the life that's waiting for you. Every day is a chance to either feed the old story or build the new one. That choice is yours. Not once, but every morning you wake up, every night before you sleep. The world may challenge you, but your mind is your responsibility. And when you commit to working on it daily, you stop being a victim of your past and start becoming the author of your future. That's how transformation begins from the inside out. Not all at once, but one powerful thought at a time. Every day, without fail. That's the work. That's the process. That's what builds the life you know you're meant to live. Chapter 8. Show up even when nothing feels good at all. There are going to be days when nothing feels right. Days when your energy is low, your motivation is gone, and your emotions feel heavier than usual. It'll feel like your mind is fighting against you, like your body wants to shut down, and like your goals don't even matter. On those days, everything in you will want to disappear, hide, or give up. But those are the days that matter the most. Those are the days that test who you really are. Because anyone can show up when life feels good. But only the strong keep showing up when everything feels off. You don't grow by waiting for perfect conditions. You grow by pushing through the worst ones, and that means showing up even when your heart's not in it. Even when your head is full of doubt. Even when you feel stuck, tired, confused, or broken. It doesn't mean you have to be happy about it. It means you do what needs to be done anyway. You keep your word to yourself, not because it feels good, but because it's right. That's where real confidence comes from. That's where your self-respect is built. In those quiet, lonely moments when no one's watching and you could easily quit, but you don't. The hard truth is, life isn't going to feel good all the time. You'll go through loss, failure, frustration, and doubt. That's the reality of being human. But if you base your actions on how you feel, you'll be stuck in cycles forever. You'll keep starting and stopping. You'll keep building and breaking. And over time, you'll stop trusting yourself. That's why showing up, no matter the emotional weather, is non-negotiable. Not to be perfect, but to be consistent. Not because you feel strong, but because you're building strength by refusing to disappear. There's power in routine. When your life is falling apart, routine becomes your anchor. When your emotions are unstable, Structure keeps you grounded. But that only works if you show up for it. If you keep your promises to yourself, even on the days when they feel like a burden. It could be going to the gym when your mind says rest. It could be working on your goals when you feel lost. It could be sitting in silence with your thoughts when you'd rather numb yourself. None of it is easy, but all of it is necessary. The people who make it out of dark seasons aren't always the strongest. They're just the most committed to showing up, no matter what. They don't disappear when life gets messy. They keep putting in the reps. They keep writing. They keep showing up to the meetings. They keep eating clean. They keep reading. They keep moving forward. Slowly, quietly, but consistently. And that's what makes the difference. Not one massive leap, but 1,000 small steps when it was hardest to move at all. You may not feel progress right away. You may not see results tomorrow. But every day you show up, you're planting something. And those seeds grow, quietly, invisibly, until one day they show. One day you wake up and realize you're not where you used to be. You've grown. You've toughened up. You've become more patient, more focused, more grounded. But it only happens when you stay the course through the emotional storms. When you work, not just when you're inspired, but when you're exhausted. You don't need to be in a good mood to take action. You don't need to feel ready to do what needs to be done. You just need to decide that your future is more important than your current discomfort. You need to remember that your emotions are temporary, but the impact of your choices lasts much longer. If you quit every time it feels hard, you'll never get anywhere. But if you build the habit of following through no matter what, you'll become unstoppable. Some of your most important breakthroughs will come on days when you didn't feel like getting out of bed. Some of your most meaningful wins will come on days when your energy was low, your thoughts were loud, and your heart was heavy. But you showed up anyway. You didn't run. You didn't numb yourself. You didn't wait for it to pass. You stepped into the day with all your doubts, and you got to work. That's where pride lives. Not in outcomes, but in effort. Not in perfection, but in consistency. You don't have to move mountains today. You just have to show up. Maybe it's 5 minutes of reading. Maybe it's 30 minutes of work. Maybe it's one small task that keeps your momentum going. But don't let the day pass without doing something for your future. Even if it's small, even if it's quiet, even if it doesn't feel like enough. Because those small difficult actions stack up, and over time they become your strength. On the hard days, don't chase motivation. Chase integrity. Chase the version of you who doesn't fold under pressure. The version of you who doesn't let emotions decide your path. The version of you who does what's necessary, even when it's inconvenient. That's the version that will carry you through dark seasons. That's the version that rebuilds your life from the ground up. Not with hype, not with perfect plans, but with grit, with consistency, with follow-through. You don't have to pretend everything's okay. You just have to move forward in spite of it. You can feel tired and still show up. You can feel afraid and still show up. You can feel discouraged and still show up. Because you're not showing up for the feeling. You're showing up for the result, for the future, for the person you're becoming. Think about the life you want. Think about the stability, peace, confidence and strength you're trying to build. That life doesn't happen by skipping hard days. It happens by walking through them. Step by step, action by action. Showing up when it doesn't feel exciting. Showing up when it's boring. Showing up when you're hurting. That's the price, and it's worth it. Because the life you create through daily effort is one you can be proud of. Not because it was easy, but because you earned it when it was hard. This isn't about being tough all the time. It's about being responsible with your time. It's about respecting your goals even when they feel far away. It's about refusing to waste another day just because it doesn't feel good. You've wasted enough of those already. You've had enough false starts, enough empty promises, enough lost time. This time is different, because this time you don't skip the hard days. You face them, you carry them, you move through them with quiet strength. And when you do that enough times, you start building a version of yourself that's not shaken by every storm. A version that gets things done even when it's hard. A version that can be trusted to follow through. That's the version that wins. That's the version that rebuilds a life with meaning. And it all starts with one commitment: showing up no matter what. You're not always going to feel good, but you can always do what's good for you. You're not always going to feel motivated, but you can always choose action. You're not always going to feel clear, but you can always stay consistent. And that's what matters. One day at a time, one task at a time, one hard moment at a time. Show up, not for comfort, but for your future. Show up because your goals don't care how you feel. And deep down, you know you've never regretted showing up. You've only regretted the days you didn't. So this time, no matter what, you keep going. Chapter 9. Be consistent with small wins until you feel stronger. Progress doesn't happen overnight. Strength isn't built in a week. Confidence doesn't appear just because you want it to. Everything you're trying to become starts with the small things you choose to do every day. Most people are looking for a big breakthrough, a dramatic change, or some loud victory. But the truth is, lasting growth comes from consistent effort, quiet effort, small wins that stack up over time. And the people who rebuild themselves from nothing don't get there with huge leaps. They get there by doing what matters on the days when nobody's watching. You don't need a massive goal to start. You need one small step that you commit to, day in and day out, until it becomes who you are. That's how you start building strength when you feel weak. You don't wait for some big turning point. You create momentum by choosing the simple actions that move your life forward. Maybe it's drinking water first thing in the morning. Maybe it's reading 10 pages a day. Maybe it's getting out of bed when your body wants to lay still. These don't seem like much in the moment, but they send a message to your mind. I'm not staying where I am. Small wins matter because they're real. They remind you that you can follow through. They give you something to feel proud of. And when you're trying to come back from rock bottom, that sense of progress is everything. You don't need perfection, you need progress. Something you can feel, something that proves to you that you're not stuck forever. And the only way to build that feeling is to stay consistent, even when it feels like nothing is changing. It's easy to overlook the small things. You might think, what's the point of a 5-minute workout? Or how does one journal entry help me? But the point isn't just the action, it's the habit, it's the discipline, it's the mindset that says, I'm not quitting on myself today. And the more you do it, the stronger that mindset becomes. You stop thinking about how far you have to go, and you start focusing on what you can do right now. That shift is what helps you gain control over your life again. When you're rebuilding, you don't have the luxury of wasting days. Every day matters. Every decision matters, even the small ones. Especially the small ones, because those are the ones that shape your identity. And once you start to see yourself as someone who shows up, even in small ways, everything changes. You stop waiting to feel strong. You start becoming stronger by proving to yourself that you can stay consistent even on hard days. This isn't about intensity, it's about commitment. Anyone can push hard for a week, but that doesn't change your life. What changes your life is showing up when you're tired, when you're discouraged, when the results aren't showing yet. That's what separates people who rise from people who give up. Not motivation, not talent, just the quiet decision to keep doing what works, one small win at a time. You have to stop looking for shortcuts. Stop chasing the feeling of progress and start building it. That means doing the same basic things over and over until they become second nature. It might not feel exciting, but it's effective. Repetition creates stability, and when your life has been unstable, that's exactly what you need. Something solid, something predictable, something you can lean on when everything else feels uncertain. Maybe your small win today is making your bed. Maybe it's preparing a healthy meal. Maybe it's sending that email you've been putting off. Whatever it is, do it with the mindset that this action is helping you climb out of where you've been. It's not just a task. It's a statement. It's proof that you're not giving up on yourself, even if nobody else sees it. Most people quit not because they fail, but because they don't believe the small things will add up. They want instant results, and when they don't get them, they start over again and again. But you're not here for quick wins. You're here to build something real, and real growth is slow. Real confidence is earned. Real strength is developed through consistent repetition. Your life right now is the result of what you've repeated over time, and your future will be shaped by what you choose to repeat from this moment forward. If you want to feel better, start by doing better. Not perfectly, just consistently. Even if it's boring, even if it's hard. Because eventually those small wins create momentum, and that momentum creates belief. And belief is the fuel that takes you from surviving to building a life that makes you proud. You don't rise by waiting for energy. You rise by doing what builds energy. You don't get stronger by thinking about being strong. You get stronger by lifting yourself out of the rut one step at a time. It's not dramatic. It's not always noticeable, but it's real, and it works. If you keep showing up and stacking the wins, your self-image starts to shift. You stop identifying as someone who's trying and start becoming someone who follows through. That's how you build real change. Not by doing everything all at once, but by doing a few things well every day. And once you start seeing the results of those actions, once you feel the shift in your mind, your mood, your energy, you won't want to stop. You'll want more. Not because you're chasing some ideal, but because you've seen what it feels like to take back control. Even when you don't feel like doing the work, do something. Even when it feels like nothing's working, keep going. The effort you put in today matters, even if the results don't show up right away. Keep building habits. Keep tracking your progress. Keep reminding yourself that change takes time. And trust that every small win is moving you closer to the version of yourself you're working to become. When the old thoughts come back, the ones that tell you it's not worth it, that it's too slow, that you're not getting anywhere, challenge them. Show them your proof. Show them the days you didn't skip, the promises you kept, the actions you repeated. You're not the same person who used to quit. You're not starting over again. You're building now, and you're doing it the right way. There's no shame in starting small. There's power in it, because starting small means you've stopped lying to yourself. It means you've stopped waiting for the perfect time and started using the time you have. And that mindset will take you further than any short burst of motivation ever could. This is your foundation, built through action, maintained through consistency, strengthened through repetition, Every small win matters. Every day counts. You're not just getting stronger, you're proving that you can stay committed to something that matters. And once you have that kind of mindset, there's nothing you can't handle. There's nothing you can't build. And there's nothing that can break you again. Keep stacking the wins. Keep moving forward. Keep showing up. You're getting stronger, one small victory at a time. Chapter 10. Keep leveling up until you no longer recognize yourself. You don't reach the next level of your life by staying the same. You get there by doing the work, pushing beyond who you used to be, and choosing to grow long after the excitement fades. Growth doesn't stop when things get better. It truly begins when you realize how much more you're capable of. And if you keep showing up, keep improving, keep doing the work that challenges you, there will come a day when you look in the mirror and barely recognize who you've become, in the best way possible. It doesn't happen by accident. You can't coast into transformation. You have to earn it. You have to keep leveling up even when you think you've done enough. Because the moment you stop trying to be better is the moment you start sliding backward. This journey isn't about reaching one goal and then relaxing. It's about building a standard for your life that keeps getting higher, one decision at a time. Leveling up means refusing to settle. It means knowing that comfort is where most people get stuck. They reach a point where things are okay, and then they stop pushing. They slow down. They choose what's easy instead of what's necessary. That's not how you rebuild a life that lasts. If you've climbed out of rock bottom, then you already know what it's like to lose time, waste energy, and feel like you're behind. So now that you've started moving up, don't stop. Use that momentum to keep becoming someone stronger, sharper, more disciplined than you were yesterday. This doesn't mean living in a constant state of pressure. It means having a mindset that's committed to progress. Even if it's 1% better each day. Even if nobody notices but you. Because at the end of the day, your life will reflect what you kept doing long after the motivation faded. Your habits, your standards, your values, they become your identity. And when your identity starts to shift, so does everything else. You start making better decisions because you expect more from yourself. You stop settling for toxic people because your self-worth is higher. You stop wasting time because your time has meaning now. You won't recognize yourself when you've truly leveled up. The old version of you tolerated too much. You let excuses control your actions. You stayed quiet when you should have spoken up. You let fear make your decisions. But that's not who you are anymore. Because now you're someone who takes ownership. You follow through. You do the hard things without needing applause. You've stopped waiting for someone to push you, and you've learned how to push yourself. That kind of shift changes everything. It's not just about achievement. It's about evolution. It's about becoming a version of yourself that you can respect, someone who's built from the inside out. Not because life got easier, but because you got wiser. You stopped reacting and started leading your own life. You developed clarity. You cut out distractions. You stopped pretending and started showing up fully. And the more you do that, the less you relate to who you used to be. That's the goal, to become so focused, so disciplined, and so committed to your purpose that the old you couldn't survive in your new environment. That version wouldn't keep up. It would be uncomfortable around your new habits. It would be exposed by your new mindset. Because growth creates separation, not just from your past, but from people, habits and patterns that no longer fit who you're becoming. You don't need permission to level up. You don't need people to understand your vision. Most of the time they won't. Because they only know the version of you they've been around. And when you outgrow that version, they'll either rise with you or fall behind. Don't slow down to make them comfortable. Don't shrink your goals to fit into old spaces. Keep climbing, keep working, keep improving until there's no trace of the person who used to doubt everything. You're not here to stay the same. You're here to become someone you can trust. Someone who doesn't flinch under pressure. Someone who has self-control, direction and discipline. That kind of strength isn't given. It's developed. And it's developed by leveling up even when you're tired. Even when you're unsure. Even when the path feels unclear. Because the process is what shapes you. And the more you lean into the process, the more unshakable you become. Don't just focus on goals, focus on the habits that support them. Because once you hit a goal, the habits are what keep you there. And if those habits are strong, you don't just maintain your progress, you multiply it. You get sharper. You move faster. You make better choices. You think longer term. That's what happens when you live in a constant state of learning, adapting, and building. You stop chasing results and start living in alignment with who you want to be. You have to remind yourself that every level requires something different. What got you through the last chapter won't be enough for the next. You'll need more focus, more discipline, more clarity. That means dropping old routines that used to work but now hold you back. It means facing new fears instead of hiding behind old excuses. That's the price of growth. It costs comfort, but the reward is a life that feels earned, not given. The more you level up, the more your decisions shift. You stop needing motivation, because consistency becomes part of who you are. You stop needing validation, because your self-worth isn't based on what others think. You stop fearing failure, because failure becomes feedback. You use it to adjust, not retreat. You learn how to rebuild faster, think clearer, and act stronger. And there will be days when this journey feels slow. There will be moments when you question if it's working. That's normal. But don't confuse slow growth with no growth. Progress isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, sometimes it's invisible, but it's always there if you're doing the work. Keep showing up. Keep tracking your progress. Keep adjusting. That's how you break through. Not with one big moment, but with hundreds of small ones that most people would skip. Look at who you were 6 months ago. Are you more disciplined, more focused, more honest with yourself? If the answer is yes, then you're leveling up. And if you keep going, there will come a day when you look at your life, your habits, your relationships, your mindset, and realize you've built something solid, something lasting, something powerful, not by accident, but by consistency. Your story isn't finished, and no matter how far you've come, there's always more growth ahead, more strength to build, more peace to earn, more lessons to learn. Keep going until you walk into a room and no longer see the old version of yourself in anything you do. Keep going until your actions reflect the highest standard, not the bare minimum. Keep going until your habits feel natural, your discipline feels automatic, and your identity is built around growth, not survival. This is your life, not a rehearsal, not a draft. It's happening right now, and every decision you make either brings you closer to the best version of you, or keeps you tied to who you used to be. Choose progress. Choose discipline. Choose to level up again and again, until the life you're living feels like a reward for everything you refuse to give up on. Keep climbing. You haven't even seen your highest level yet.